Welcome to the Real Talk with Tanya White show. It is Tanya White, and we are at the end of February. When you hear this, it'll be February 27th, and we have the sensational, the fantastic media mogul, Amazon's it guy, Cyrus Webb. This is my first time interviewing him on my show. Cyrus Webb, welcome to Real Talk with Tanya White.
Tanya White, thank you so much for the invite. Glad to be here. I'm excited.
Listen, since you're on here, we're going to talk about a whole lot.
Okay.
We may have an extended overdrive show, okay?
Okay, sounds good to me.
Cyrus, how does it feel to be on the other side of the mic being interviewed?
Scary. Why do y'all put yourselves through this?
Exactly.
But you know what? But because I trust you, I love the show, I love your interviews, I love your style, Sonya. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, we're gonna have fun too. All right, Cyrus Webb, the Cyrus Webb that everybody knows now. We know you as a media mogul. You have, I don't know how many shows. How many shows you got on Amazon?
On Amazon, I have 7. I have 7 shows on Amazon.
7. Y'all heard that? 7 shows. Not to mention that you do what else do you do, Cyrus?
Well, I still do radio. We're celebrating 22 years on the radio here in Mississippi this year. I'm celebrating 19 years as the editor-in-chief of Conversations Magazine. I've been a publicist now for 15 years. And outside of that, just working as a brand strategist and social media manager. I've been doing that now for 8 years.
8 years. Y'all heard that? He has multiple careers, not jobs, careers, because all of those you have built, right?
Yeah.
You are behind it, the vision. Yeah. How do you balance it all, Cyrus?
Tanya, that is a great question. I was having a conversation with one of our mutual friends, Earl Hall, recently, and I said to him something I realized when I got a major offer from Amazon that I turned down because they wanted me to do Amazon full time. It feels like I do that already, but they want. And I said to him, I said I couldn't do it because I like playing in different sandboxes, and I think that's what keeps it fun for me, Tanya. To be quite honest with you, I think the way I'm able to, I've always been good, like you, at multitasking, but also planning. So I'm able to block out my schedule where I know, okay, this is this day, I have this day, this part of the day, I have this, so that way I stay on track. But also I can make sure I give my best to everything. So that's really it. I've always been a planner, and it really has served me well in these. I love the way you said it, in the different careers that I have.
Oh my goodness. So, I flow with questions. I never write anything down, but you said something very, very real. It's a real talk with Tanya White. When we talk about sustainability, because you were on Blog Talk years ago. And when it was Blog Talk really wasn't popping. And I remember having my show on there, and I would look to see, they had on the little side the popular shows, and it was Cyrus Webb. So I would always listen when I first got on there to the shows that were popular and the hosts that were consistent. Yeah. Tell us how important it is to what you just said, you're planning, knowing what it is, because we started with a lot of people doing what we do.
Right.
But the consistency and the sustainability, they're no longer there.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to plan? And not only plan, you plan with strategy and you plan with intention. Talk about that for a minute, Cyrus, especially when you are building a brand and a lot of people are trying to dip their hat in podcasting and media hosting, but they don't have those traits.
Yeah. Tanya, that's a great question. And I think for myself, it is, and I recently did a post on Facebook talking about this. I think people look at you and myself and they see what we're doing today. They don't think about the sacrifices we have to make it happen. We don't think about ourselves that we give up to make sure it happens. Because it is work. We have fun doing what we do. I know you love what you do. I love doing what I do. But to the question of planning, I was willing to give up. And I think a lot of people aren't, Tanya. I think a lot of people are, they want to be able to party and and do this and that, and they don't take it seriously what they're doing. I even on blogs, I remember I got so mad because I personalize things. If I like somebody or like something, I get mad. And this one podcaster said no serious podcaster would be on Blog Talk Radio.
Mm.
And she wasn't talking to me personally, but I took it personal because I'm like, how can you make it? Ironically, she's not even doing podcasting anymore, by the way.
Right.
But
Right.
but these people who feel like they have a right to, because they have a certain microphone, right, or a certain background, they feel like they have a right to judge things. I knew if I stayed steady, regardless of what platform I was on, I could win. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get, Tanya. They want this part of what we do, but they don't want the work that goes into it. And part of that work is saying, if I'm going to commit to this, what aren't I going to be able to do? I was willing to make those sacrifices. I was willing to say I wasn't going to have a personal life like other people did. I was willing to say I'm not going to have time to just lollygag and spend hours just scrolling social media, watching cat videos. Nothing against cats. I love cats. But we have to give up something if we want something, right? And so I was willing to do that. Even my mother will tell you to this day, she's 77 years old, about to turn 78. She will tell you, if you're not on Cyrus's schedule, I have to make an appointment. She's like, if you're not on his schedule, you have to wait. You don't just pop up at Cyrus's house. But it's built in knowing that, Tanya, people then realize, okay, that's just not something they're doing. Don't you hate it when people say, how's that little show, that little podcast that they don't say that to me anymore though. But because they understand this, just like you have your job that you get ready and go to, this is my job. This is what I've committed myself to. And most people are not willing to make that sacrifice, Tanya.
Yeah. And I told people long ago when I first started 2008. Mm-hmm. First of all, I was terrified. This was getting on Blockcast was something my coach, she's like, you're going to do it because I gave her goals that I wanted to achieve. And she said, this is a goal. You have to get out there. So first of all, I had to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Take it seriously and plan, like you said, plan. And I had to envision that I never called my show little. I don't think anybody called it little verbally. Yeah. But their actions. Now we're going to talk about that. Their actions. Mm-hmm. And so I automatically, because I love talk radio. I grew up on talk radio. Everybody, y'all hear me talking about my dad. Listen, before I didn't even know it was a pop music station until I was 16 and able to drive, because we listened to talk radio station. They had the news and they played little music, and what music they did was country. That's how I love country music. And so everything was talk radio. And so I listened, I grew up on that, and I knew what host I liked, why I liked them. And so when I launched into that, like you probably did, you had a vision for your platform. Yeah. Tell us how important it is, because you are a brand strategist at that, how vision and taking your time to plan it out before just launching into the deep. Okay. Yeah. How important is having a vision, writing it down, making it plain to the sustainable success that a lot of people see that you have and I have?
Tanya, I love this so much. I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because I think a lot of people don't realize that, Conversations Live does well now, but a lot of people don't realize, and when the show started in 2003, Tanya, it wasn't even called Conversations Live. The station I was on, and I love them, it's a WNPR 90.1 FM here in Jackson, Mississippi. Charles Evers, the brother of Medgar Evers, was one who gave me my opportunity. He owned the station. Okay. But he had the vision. Now, and this is important why I'm bringing this up, that it was going to be a talking head show where I talked about what I did in different topics and people called in. Now, this was his vision. I was just happy for the opportunity. Opportunity. So I got on the first show, Tanya. I never will forget this, because it changed my life, but it also told me to trust my voice. And to the point that you're making, I got on there and I started talking. Tanya, it wasn't 10 minutes in, I was like, this is not working. People were not calling. And I'm like, so then I just started talking and, just saying, what I hoped the show would be. Because then at this point, it wasn't my vision. This was his vision. And then about halfway through, and you'll love this story because you know her husband.
Mm-hmm.
The producer tells me that I had a caller.
Mm-hmm.
They brought the caller in. It was Angela Sarton. You
Mm-hmm.
know her now as Angela Collier. She's married to Chris Collier. She
Okay.
was listening to me on the radio in Biloxi, Mississippi. I didn't know the show was heard in Biloxi, Mississippi. Like, Cyrus, I'm so proud of you. I'm listening to your show. Congratulations. Angela was an artist, Tanya. And I heard God say to me, ask her about herself. And I said, Angela,
Mm.
thank you so much for calling. For those who don't know you, why don't you tell them who you are and what you do? And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as she started talking, I knew that's what I was supposed to have been doing. Not
Mm.
me talking about how much I knew and people
Mm-hmm.
bantering with
Mm-hmm.
me making the guest the star. And I went
Yeah.
to Mr. Evers and I said, Mr. Evers, I said, I don't think this is the right format. I think this is where I'm supposed to do. And that's when the show became Conversations. Initially, it went from Let's Talk with Cyrus Webb to Conversations with Cyrus Webb to now Conversations
Mm.
Live. But that was the story. I said all of that to say, Angela, Tanya, that I had to trust that
Mm-hmm.
that was what it may not have been what they wanted,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what I knew my skill set was in shining a light on other people and
Yeah.
letting them tell their story. And when I realized that, that's why I don't get. That's why I tell people there's room for everybody. Everyone has their
Mm-hmm.
gift. You know, you are extraordinary what you do. I love your
Oh,
energy. I love
thank
your
you.
excitement that you bring. No, I'm just being real. But I'm not you. You know, I'm more laid back. That's just my style.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their style. And I think when I started trusting that and stopped trying to be the next X, Y, or Z, Tanya, that's when I really excelled because people
Yes.
knew I wasn't trying to be Montel Williams. I wasn't trying to be
Right.
Tab Smiley. I was being Cyrus Webb. And so that is what has helped me in realizing that, okay, you know what? I have to keep on that trajectory, that stretch,
Yeah.
and stay focused on that and not let this other stuff sway me from being what I'm the person I knew I was supposed to be.
That listen, y'all need to rewind this show just to hear that. I heard you say so many nuggets of wisdom since we started. Willing to give up something.
Hmm.
Success. Staying steady wins. I mean, it wins. It makes you win
Yeah.
over and over again. It's steady. Trust your voice
Hmm.
and know that everyone has their own style.
Yeah.
And when you find your voice, you have everything else will flow. Your style, your
Hmm.
personality, how the format wants to be,
Hmm.
and then make the guest your star. If you're trying to start a podcast, those are the four essential points to
Yeah.
not only having a successful show, but building a brand that is sustainable. And so even if you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because I'm like you, Cyrus. I'm like, Lord, when my life coach said, you gotta I was like, what?
Hmm.
What do you want? And she started breaking it down.
Hmm.
But I knew I've always, like you said, especially you said it without saying it, you always know your talents and you
Yeah.
always know what you're good at. So I
Hmm.
knew I was good at, I love hearing. I was the person everybody came to talk to outside of the limelight because I want to know people's stories.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
writer. I love people's stories. And
Right.
so when I got over the agonizing bubble guts of the host,
Yeah.
because I can produce anything. I'm
Yeah.
that planner. I can see a vision and do it. But when
Hmm.
I got on the mic, I had to trust my voice and be my authentic self. And then
Hmm.
also have fun with what you're doing
Yeah.
because you know that it is you're going to interact with guests and it's your job to make them shine. And so when you
Yes.
make them shine, it's like, oh, I can feel it's like a satisfaction. And so I
Yeah.
know that's what you do. That's why you have branched out and PR and doing everything else. But I want y'all to listen. You have to stay steady with it, willing to
Hmm.
give up something, trust
Yeah.
your voice, and be comfortable with making other people stars. And I think that last one, because we're in a society that thinks that there's no more room for anything. There's plenty
Hmm.
of room. Even
Yeah.
before Cyrus, these kids these days don't know what life was before the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. And I think as much as I love the internet and you and I we both use it, we know exactly. We know what that's like, to be able to connect with people offline and build those relationships. And there's so many people who aren't online that are impactful,
Yes.
And to share those stories is amazing.
Awesome. So before we get to all of your Amazon shows and a new one at home with Cyrus Webb, Cyrus, what did you do before being on a radio host and all these Amazon jobs?
So let me tell you, it's so different, but it makes sense.
Okay.
I was in hotel management. I was a general manager of a hotel. I'd worked myself up from a part-time night auditor to actually being the general manager of the hotel. So I had built relationships in the hospitality business, met people. That's how when I first was introduced to Lil Wayne, to Tyler Perry, was because of that business and coming through Jackson and working with them on booking for their plays and shows. And so I've always been interested in people. I remember the first time I met Lil Wayne, we were at the front desk. He was talking, just smart guy, by the way, which I didn't have a misperception of him, I wouldn't say, but I did not expect him to be who he was. And just hearing him being so philosophical, and this was a young age. We're talking 2000, Tanya. And so, that's what I did. So the way I was actually got into radio, though, Tanya, was interesting because a lot of people didn't know I had dealt with depression. I was a suicide attempt survivor. And I had seen someone was talking about something in the hospitality meetings. And I said, I can talk about that. And they were shocked. They were like, you. And I was speaking at an event, and that's where Charles Evers found me. And that meeting changed my life. And so after that meeting, I ended up, this was, like I said, 2003, 2006, it had gotten so big with the media, I had to leave the full-time business of hospitality and go full-time.
Wow. That one, first of all, I heard you said people didn't know what you was doing. You was always, it does make sense because when you meet people, hotel, you meet people traveling, you have to make a connection instantly. Yeah. I like traveling, and people I remember are the ones who make me feel welcome, who have a conversation with me, who like have those little moments and to make sure that my stay is what it's supposed to be. Sure. And so it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And then you said it happened so quickly. And you had to be ready because you didn't even know. You was just doing, you just said, hey, I'll do it. I can speak about that. Not knowing who was going to be in the audience. And you said when you spoke, someone, the Eggerts, was in there and changed your life and got you into another level of your purpose.
Yeah. You just said something.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, but you just said something that is so important because it's something that I'm reminded of daily. You said, and it's true, I didn't know who was in the room, but it goes to the point that you and I both know we never know who's watching us.
Never know.
And that's why we have to bring our best to everything. And that's also my criticism for people who don't value those rising up-and-coming artists and actors and treat them differently than they treat the A-listers. You have to treat everybody like they are the star, like they are somebody, because you don't know who's listening to that. I don't know if you saw the post I made. This happened just last week. Tanya, I was on with Dr. Taz with our show, The Author's Den. Michael Coulter was watching on Instagram.
You hear that?
You could not make that up. I mean, you never know who is. That's why you have to bring your best to everything and not feel like, oh, this isn't as important because they're not really someone who's known, or this isn't an author who is, traditionally. No, everybody's a star because that's still a reflection of you, how you treat them. And you're exactly right. Me speaking in that room that day, had no idea the owner of a radio station was in that room, walked up to me and said, you have a really distinctive voice. I think you ought to try radio. That's how it started.
Had you ever even envisioned yourself on radio?
Never. Never. Tanya had never had a radio interview. That's the other one.
Listen,
I've never even been on radio.
The radio professional said you have a really distinctive voice.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Had you not trusted your voice, had you not been who you were, had you not said, hey, I'll speak up, and then show up, because a lot of people say they'll do things and don't show up, you never would have got that opportunity. Now, Cyrus, let's just go here, because this is my pet peeve. You just said something about, people don't know who's in the room or who's listening. Now, this is the problem I have. Okay, this is Real Talk with Tanya White. Okay, let's go to booking guests.
Yeah.
Now, I know we're not Ricky Smiley, syndicated, national, Steve Harvey, but you got some people who and who listen to your show, who people think they listen to your show.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. What? This is my pet peeve. When I book a guest, okay? That's why I start pre-taping my shows. Because I would book people and they'd be like, oh, I forgot. I didn't put in my schedule. And I'm thinking, oh, you said you wanted to be a national voice. And how do you know if this was Oprah? I know you wouldn't forget.
Thank you.
See what I'm saying? So let's talk about it, Cyrus.
Sure.
Let's talk about it. How important is for you to treat podcast hosts like they are national TV journalists, and the Oprahs and the Steve Harveys? If on that show, when someone books you, tell us the 3 things that get you to the next level. Maybe that's what I'm saying. If you want to go there, how do you develop your habits now with those who are booking you and want and see you on social media and you haven't reached that level yet? What's the habits that you need?
Tanya, this is such a big thing. And I'm so glad I'm at a place where I can feel comfortable talking about this, because for one thing, it's a conversation that needs to be had. For one, if regardless of how you feel about how the last presidential election went in the United States, one thing has been crystal clear, that Donald Trump and his campaign knew the importance and power of podcast and new media. Boom. One of the criticisms that was given to Kamala Harris was that, she didn't do enough. She's not coming on the news channels. She's not doing this. But now you look and see the power of new media and what's happening with the MSNBCs, the CNNs, the layoffs, the cuts, the selling. You don't know who is listening to that podcast that can be exactly the person you need to be reaching. And that may not be the case on national television. That's just the reality. That's not Cyrus saying that. That's what the numbers are showing. People are leaving, what is considered traditional media and listening to podcasts, listening to new media. So if you are not taking advantage of the opportunity while you can, because you won't always be able to get Tanya and me. If you're not taking
say that again.
You won't always be able to get Tanya and myself, because if you're not taking that seriously, we make a list.
You check it twice.
I know I do.
And I check it twice.
Yeah, because if you don't respect me enough at this stage to honor my platform, show up when you're supposed to bring yourself to it, why should you think as I grow and enlarge, I should want to be a part of you? And I think what happens, Tanya and you, with all due respect to all the creatives out there, I know you think your book is the best. I know you think your music is the best. I know you think your TV show, your movie is the best. There are others out there. And, you think that just because you wrote something, it's going to make you big. You think, no, you need a platform to be able to showcase that. And while you can get Tanya and me, you need to take advantage of those platforms and respect those platforms. Yeah. Donald Trump showed up and respected those platforms, sometimes taking an hour interview turning into 3 hours. Why? Because he understood the power of that platform is going to be cut up and shared. And that's what people don't get, Tanya. They think, oh, I just want to make it on, on Oprah or on, Jennifer Hudson's show or whatever. And that's great. But what's going to happen after that? because they're not going to be promoting you after that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen to you? And people forget, Tanya, what you and I know. When we think about American Idol, yes, we know Fantasia won, but who has the talk show? Jennifer Hudson.
And Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. Who's the EGOT? Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, say what you want about her. You cannot deny the impact and the power of her platform, right?
Mm-mm.
And so that's what I would say about you and myself is that people can't deny the power of our platforms. So you need to make sure you're respecting that. If you're booked to be on a show, research that show. Know about the host. And then here's the big one, Tanya, that you know that people don't do. Promote your own show. Promote it. People who go on the Jennifer Hudson, they promote it. You should be promoting that episode that you're on. You
should be promoting the episode you're on. You should, first of all, especially, let's talk about this. If you're a new artist, a new author, nobody's calling you to book you. Okay. Yeah. So social media is for that. It's social media. We have at our reach everything. So you should be, they talk about booked and busy. When you're a new author, you should be booked and busy on podcasts until you till you carve out, okay, which one's for me. But when you go out there, you're going to say, there's so many people on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, who say they're looking for guests. They're looking for guests. Yes. What are you about? And then you just sitting back, oh, I got a book. I look at people who in my city, and I was like, oh, you got a new book? Oh, and you haven't reached out to me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, how long is it going to take them to reach? Or if I reach out to them and I have my shows, you can schedule your own pre-tape link according to your schedule. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
So when you schedule according to your date and time that's available, and then you forget,
yeah.
Oh, you talking about making a list, checking it twice. Yeah. Go find out who's gonna be on Real Talk. Tanya White or not.
Right. But Tanya,
I understand life it happens, but then
right.
Some people don't even say, oh, I'm sorry, or oh, can we? And if you reach out to me before you it's a greater chance of me rescheduling, because just like you, my life is booked and busy.
Yes.
And we
Tanya, let's be real. Let's talk about your 2024. Tanya White interviewed MC Light, Major, Cedric the Entertainer, and this is why I tell people, Tanya, look at
Ryan Christopher.
Yeah, and ask them to look at their circle and ask them who around them has done what Tanya White has done in the past year. And so that's
and my Sadie Bear said we locked and loaded.
Yeah,
go listen to it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like that's why I became unapologetic about this, Tanya, because it's like I tell people, if I'm one of the top 5 media hosts on Amazon, unless you know one of the other 4, what are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? What are we talking about? And currently my show's number 2. But it's like if you don't know one of the other 4, why am I even having a discussion about this?
Why am I having a conversation?
Yeah.
And you're the only one that I know is approachable.
Yeah. Well,
and you say, hey, I'm having this. I'm having this training. Check me out. Book your spot. And so even with this goes back to when you're building an author, brand.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're doing. You need to take advantage of who knows who. And it goes back to doing your research. You got to check out the show. You've been in the business, what, 20 years?
Yeah, this year makes 22. Yeah, 22 years.
22 years in media. I've been doing it since 2008. Different platforms have changed. I went to Blog Talk, then I went to I forgot what was after Blog Talk. I forgot. Then I went to another podcast, because every after Blog Talk, everybody there was online everything.
Yeah.
And so then I went to traditional radio. Now I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. And since I've left traditional radio, let's go back to your point. Yeah. That's how my numbers have increased. My reach has increased when I left traditional radio, and my guests have increased because I connected with you. I remember I said, "Oh, I didn't even know you did PR." I was like, "Oh, I need to hook up with Cyrus because I knew you from Blog Talk." I was like, "Yep, let me see." I hooked up, and that's how Cyrus is how I got MC Light and my City Bear and other people to come. Don't play with Cyrus.
I appreciate you saying that, Tanya, but I'm going to disagree with you. Your talent, your persistence, and your passion is why you got them. And that is me being real, because when I chose the people for each one of those interviews, those are the things I was looking at. So you have proven through your work ethic, and now I'm just being real with you. Yeah. You have proven through your work ethic, through your professionalism, and through you're just being yourself, you know, what you're able to do. I'm just glad to offer the platform to showcase that. But now you're the reason, and that's the other thing I tell people. Like I talk about finding my voice. You know, you know who you are, and that comes through in what you do, and that's what it's all about, and that's why you're winning, because you're not trying to be anyone else. You're just Tanya White, and I think when people realize that the gift is in being yourself, that's when we all can win.
The gift is in being yourself, and it took years for me to really be comfortable. Like you said, probably you too, be comfortable, even though you trust your voice. Yeah. We all evolve. And I'm not the Tanya White that I was in 2008. Yeah. And so you have to be comfortable with who you are and who you're going to evolve into. Now, Cyrus, let's talk about all these shows you got on Amazon. Okay. Yeah, all of the shows. First of all, talk about your journey even to get to be one of the top hosts and influencers on Amazon. What happened? Because you was on Blog Talk. How did you get on Amazon?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll give you the condensed version. So I'm one of these nerds, Tanya. I'm one of these people. If I go to Popeyes and get a 3-piece, and on the back of the receipt it says, "If you fill out this survey, we give you a 2 free piece." I'm filling out the survey to get the 3.
You are like my best friend Marie Clay. Marie got gifts and upon gifts. I mean, Marie, where'd you get that from? Girl, I fill out this survey, or I did this, I introduced that. I'm like, Marie, you got the anointment to get gifts.
Okay. Yeah, that's so I've always been that person. If I see someone, talk about, we love to hear your thoughts. So when I would listen to music and stuff, I'd be like, I'm gonna write me a review on Amazon. I find a new song, a new whatever. I didn't even know that was a business. I didn't even know it until businesses started reaching out to me and says, "Hey, we saw you reviewed this. We'd like to send you this and pay you to do a post for us." And I was like, "What? That's legal?" I mean,
it's a whole industry now.
Look, I didn't know what I didn't know. This was 2010. Oh, wow. So I started writing reviews, getting products, and next thing you know, it went from everything small, like a cup. The next thing I was getting a desk, then a refrigerator. And my grandmother would be like, "What's all this stuff going?" Like, I wrote a review for them. You know what I'm saying? So in 2000, and this just shows you the power of timing and being ready, Tanya. That's why I want to tell you what happened in 2010. In 2020, we know what happened. The world shut down. Mm-hmm. This is going to sound conspiratorial to some people, but in 2019, Amazon rolled out Amazon Live, where they were bringing in influencers to do a competition to QVC and HSN. So in 2020, I got the invite at the beginning of the year, right before COVID shut everything down. Mm-hmm. So that is what did it. So my having that relationship with all these brands, Amazon seeing my regularity, offered me an opportunity. That first year in 2020, I got a 500 product deal. Ooh. I don't know if you remember seeing the picture of all the boxes outside my house. Mm-hmm. But that's how it all started. So it started off with Cyrus Webb Presents. That was the first show. Mm-hmm. And then we went from Cyrus Webb Presents to then we had other shows. That's because I wanted a show for authors. So then we had The Right Stuff. And now we also have the Author's Den. We have Cyrus, Webb, and Friends, which is another show, a collaborative show that Tanya is a part of. We went from that to Minding Your Business, my podcast there based on my book that you're able to get on Amazon. And that was my business show that I did. I did that show solo. And then we started something really interesting. And that was to bring the radio show, parts of the radio show, to Amazon. So we called it Conversations with Cyrus Webb. That was show 6. And then this year we have At Home with Cyrus Webb, our 7th show, which is just me dealing with no guests, just home products, office products, and gift ideas. So that's how it all started.
And you turned that just one simple review. Hey, let me write this review to now 7 shows, not only 7 shows, but a strong presence. Anything Cyrus puts out on Amazon hits the list somewhere. And so that, again, that goes back to being steady, being strategic, and willing to give up something. Now, because look, I'm in education. When I ask students what they want to be, they say an influencer. That's the new thing. And about 5 years ago, when my middle school and elementary school, I mean, what a YouTuber and all this. I was like, what are you talking about? But now I know what they're talking about.
Right.
But when I ask them or certain questions about what they're doing now to build there, people think, oh, I'll do it. I won't do it until I get to this place in life. Tell us, how important is it to start where you are?
Yes.
And steady. That's the word. Word for the day is steady.
Yeah.
Be steady about your growth and why you have to create social media relationships just like you do in-person relationships. People got to know, like, and trust you. Tell us how to do that, Cyrus, because many people don't know.
Yeah, Tanya, this is really good, and I'm so glad you're bringing these points up. But I think to the influence, I didn't even know that's what I was doing.
Yeah,
I didn't know, because it wasn't the plan. I was just following my passion. So that's the first thing I would say. Make sure it's something you're passionate about, because that's going to help you when you're not getting the brand deals. That's going to help you stay consistent when it don't seem like people are paying attention. I was doing something, I was doing literally what they say, if you do what you would do for free, I was doing it for free because I just like doing it.
That's real.
Right? Yeah. So whatever that is, make sure you're doing something that you genuinely love, and that's going to help you to sustain it. The second thing is that don't try to be everything to everyone. It goes to what we were talking about with the radio show. Don't try to be everyone else. I'm not everywhere. I have my platforms that I'm comfortable on. I have Facebook. I have Instagram. You go to my Instagram, you'll see some of my things. And of course, Amazon. But find the platforms that work for you. But here's the third one that is so big that people don't do, Tanya. And I think they miss it. And it's interesting because of the title of being an influencer. In order to be an influencer, you have to find people to influence.
Say it again, Cyrus. Say it again.
That is the engagement part. It's not enough for you just to post. Are you engaging with people? Are you actively looking on places to reach the audience that you want to serve? Because if you're just thinking, that's almost like saying, I'm just going to publish a book and people are just going to find it. That's not typically the way this works.
Well, that's what they think. Listen, you're talking my lane now, publishing lane. And
but
this is why I bring it up, Cyrus, because when I ask questions, one of the now I don't take everybody as a client now, especially if I ask them about social media and how they engage. And if they say, "Oh, I don't do social media," baby, you really gonna waste my time writing a book, okay? Because it goes back to I can't be everything to everyone, because for me, when you come to me, that's meant you're not only writing a book, but you want to promote it because that's what I do. And get in the media so people can know you. And I tell people, don't come to me thinking you're going to sell 10,000, 100,000 books off the, I don't know where you got that fib from, because that's not, even celebrities ain't selling that. They still got to hustle. And so when you don't have a realistic goal and you just think, oh, my book is gonna just be this, and it's gonna fly off the shelves. No.
Right.
You gotta find people who, I love what you said. To be an influencer, you have to find people to influence. To be an author, you gotta find people who want to read your book. To be a podcaster, you gotta find people who want to listen to your podcast.
There you go. Because you're not the only one. And, I'm not the only influencer out there. I'm not the only podcast host out there. I'm not the only author out there. There are others, right? And just because someone says, I'm a reader, well, that's pretty general. That still don't mean that they're your reader.
Right.
Because it may not be the genre they like to read. So, again, that's why we have to do our part as influencers, as authors, as whatever we are, to make sure we're looking for our audience. Goes back to what I said about the presidential election. You see what I mean? I mean, we have to be, if we're not doing that, there's no way we're going to get the result that we want.
Oh, and listen, I'm going to get in trouble. Real Talk with Tanya White, but it's my show. Real Talk with Tanya White. Cyrus, and then we're going to listen, because I could talk to you all day. You would be back. When you said that most people don't know Donald Trump as the biggest marketing guru before he became in this presidential stuff and messed up his because I still have his book, Guerrilla Marketing. And everything that he's doing, he wrote in that book. Exactly. He lives what he writes. Let people listen to who you are, know your brand, know where your strengths are, find that and show up. Everything that he's doing. Now, is it right? Listen, I think he got out of his lane with presidency. But when you said he found the podcast, that goes back to a lot of people thinking when they write a book, do an album, start a business, their clients, oh, my friends, my family, my church people, they're gonna support me. No. Those are not it. And I think that's what happened with everybody thinking Vice President Harris was gonna be easy. For you have to find new people who are not supporting you.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And convince them that you have what they need. How scary is that? And how do we get over that fear? That's my last question before we wrap up.
Yeah, and thank you again for a great conversation, Tanya. It's been great, and I look forward to coming back. But I think this is the thing, and you asked a very important question for myself and also for the audience, because you have to do something that, again, Donald Trump has done very well. You have to make it about the other person. I have learned in my career, and I think you've learned the same thing, if you give other people what they want, they will give you what you want. So what you have to do is stop making it about, I want to sell this. I want to be that. Instead of, how can I make someone feel like they're a part of something by supporting? Because that's what people really want. They want to feel like they're a part of something and not on the outside. If you can when I talk about being a suicide attempt survivor, I'm bringing people in. When I talk about being a Black male who's dealt with depression, I'm bringing people in so people don't feel like they're over here. They feel like they're right here with me. That's what we have to do. And stop making it about the product you sell and start making it about what that product can do to help someone else where they are.
And that goes back, and we can't even talk about that right now. If you're getting into anything because you're desperate to make money, don't get into it. Don't get into writing a book. Don't get into podcasting. Don't get into event planning. Don't get into starting albums. Don't do it because you're trying to make a buck. Because you're going to invest more than you make for years. And so you're in the wrong business. And don't come to S&T Publishing if you're just trying to, because Tanya White at this age is going to be like, baby, this not a good connection. But I'll refer you to somebody else. Because my time is precious, just like your time is precious. Cyrus, your time is very precious. Thank you so much. I'm going to have you back.
Thank you.
Y'all give us your contact information and some of the service that people, especially y'all new authors, y'all need to get with him. And some people I referred to him and y'all ain't done nothing yet. I'm just saying.
Well, Tanya, thank you.
Don't ask me no other question.
Tanya, thank you for a great conversation. They can just go to cyruswebb.com. That's my link tree. All my social is right there. My Facebook, Instagram, Threads, everything's right there. cyruswebb.com. As I mentioned, of course, I am a publicist. I typically only work with 14 clients at a time. So definitely reach out if you're looking for a monthly campaign or a quarterly campaign. Would love to see how I could help you. Or, of course, if you'd like to sign up for a consult for social media, I'd be glad to be able to help you there as well.
Listen, and because he takes care of us, he nurtures us, so that's why he has a limit. So when he has an opening, y'all better seize the moment, because I'm gonna be there. I'm being with the conversation. Cyrus,
thank you.
I'm not going nowhere. Okay.
Look, I'm
so when you ask me how I do what I do, and I point you to Cyrus Webb, don't ask me no more questions.
Thank you.
Because I gave you the solution. Okay. Cyrus Webb, one nugget of wisdom as we close. We're closing out February. We're going into March. Y'all, Real Talk with Tanya White. It is one of my other favorite months, Women's Month. And so I will have some of my sisters, some of the most phenomenal women on Real Talk with Tanya White. But before we go, give us one nugget of wisdom.
Sure. Trust your voice, stay consistent, and you will win. And that has been the mantra for my life. You know, trust your voice, stay consistent, and winning will be yours.
And winning will be yours. That's how I stay winning. All we do is win, win, win at CMG. Right. Okay? Listen, right. Until next time, love your life, live your life, and laugh through your life. Listen to this, reshare this, and until next time, you guys, stay real. Bye.